school is prison. Yes, of course, the buses may be different colors, and the fences that surround the facilities may be slightly different. However, a prison is a prison is a prison. And what we've been putting our kids through is literal hell. As someone who has gone through public schooling, and someone who would never ever put their own kids through it, I'd like to talk to the public about what we're doing. You're putting your children into a 40-hour-a-week work. I mean, you're putting them into basically a job, 40 hours a week. You're forcing them to sit in an incredibly uncomfortable chair, being told that they live in a free country, while simultaneously told that if they want to piss or shit, they're going to have to get the permission, the written permission of somebody in order to do so. You're making them sit in an uncomfortable chair, forcing them to endure day after day, brainwashing that they live on a spinning ball, when everything in their own reality and everything within their own senses is telling them something different. You are forcing them to eat genetically modified food, to be bullied, or to be a bully. You are forcing them to do schoolwork at home when they should be playing outside. You are forcing them to worry about what they are going to wear the next day when they should be playing outside. You are making them worry about what their peers think about their appearance, about what their peers think about their acne, about what their peers think about their grades, about what their teachers think about them when they should be playing outside. So I would like everybody to think about what they're putting their children through. Is it what you would want, or is it just convenient for you?
Education. Politicians know that word. They use it on you. Politicians have traditionally hidden behind three things: the flag, the Bible, and children. No child left behind. No child left behind. Oh, really? Well, it wasn't long ago you were talking about giving kids a head start. Head start, left behind. Someone's losing fucking ground here. But there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back. so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. By the way, it's the same big club they used to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Man. You know? And nobody...
I'm worried, really, about how much the fuzzy thinking is going on in the world. You know, fuzzy thinking, people just not thinking straight. Consider this following example. Imagine you have a spelling bee. This is contrived, but it makes the point. There's a spelling bee, and you have to spell the word cat. Okay. So one student spells it C-A-T. Person got it right. The next person spells it K-A-T. That's wrong. You got that wrong. Okay? Third person spells it X-Q-W. Do you realize that is marked equally as wrong with the K-A-T? When you could argue that K-A-T is a better spelling for cat than C-A-T. Dictionaries know this because that's how they spell it phonetically. And so we've built a system for ourselves where there's an answer and everything else is not the answer, even when some answers are better than others. So our brains are absent the wiring capable of coming up with an original thought. If you're an employer and two candidates come up looking for a job, and this is, again, a contrived example. And you're interviewing the two candidates, and you say, oh, as for part of this interview, I just want to ask you, what's the height of the spire on this building that we're in? And the candidate says, oh, I was an architect. I've majored in architecture for a while, and I memorized the heights of all the buildings on campus. I know. The height of that spire is 150 feet. In fact, 155 feet tall. Okay, turns out that's the right answer. That's the right answer. And the person came up with it in seconds. That person goes away, the next candidate walks in. Do you know the height of the spire on this building? The candidate says, no, but I'll be right back. Person runs outside, measures the length of the shadow of that spire on the ground, measures the length of her own shadow, ratios the height to the shadows, comes up with a number. Runs back inside, it's about 150 feet. Who are you going to hire? I'm hiring the person who figured it out, even though it took that person longer, even though the person's answer is not as precise. I'm hiring that person because that person knows how to use the mind in a way not previously engaged. You realize when you know how to think, it empowers you far beyond those who know only what to think.
The Earth isn't flat. And by the way, this is called gravity.
See, I'm actually touching the water with the tripod. And I'm going to be looking out that way. Some other people are out here as well. And let's see if we can see her. Okay, so she's going to break out the spotlight. I hope it is dark enough for us to see her. Wait, I caught you.
Got me?
I think so. Turn it off.
Okay.
Or like, well, turn it on again? Maybe it isn't. Wait. Yeah, I saw it's flashing on me again.
Moving it back and forth.
Okay, now you're running it back and forth. Can you now just turn it off and see? Let me see if there's a pause.
It's off.
All right, it's off. Well, it's not strange. It's not like flashing as much as it was, but I'm still getting something. Now turn it on again and do the same thing. Whoa, strange. I think that has to be you. Okay, go down towards the water. Do me a favor, turn it off for a second.
Off.
Perfect, that is you. Okay, turn it on.
That's just the light, so it's cool.
Okay. It is definitely bright, so I got it.
Shoulder height.
You're at the beach, shoulder height, and I definitely see you. Can you lower it closer to the water? Oh wow, it's actually really bright.
Okay, closer to the water. There's kind of some weeds over here, so I might move further down the beach.
Okay.
I can keep the angle, I guess.
Okay, I lost you now. I see you.
Okay.
Ke-
Now I'm gonna try lowering it right in front of me.
Okay. I'm watching it. Still watching it.
Okay, I'm crouching.
You're crouching.
So it's maybe 2 feet above the water.
Maybe 2 feet above the water. I still see it.
Okay. Now it's maybe 1 foot above the water.
1 foot above the water.
I'll flash it.
Yeah, turn it off a couple of times. Oh yeah. That's you.
Off. On.
I don't see it.
Oh, okay, not on.
Okay, now it's on. Alright, it's very bright. I mean, it's very bright.
Okay, it's like right next to the water now.
Okay, it's right next to the water. How high above the water would you say it is?
Well, the light is like, well, the light, the flashlight is almost touching. Like, if I touch it, it'll be a lit.
So maybe inches above the water.
Maybe, yeah, maybe since the bulb.
Lost you. See ya. Clears.
Weird. I'm shining it on the water, and you're seeing me. But if I shine it up in the air, you won't see me. So I guess that's the angle.
Okay, can you lift it up and go? You know, just stand up and go back down and stuff.
Lifting it up.
Like stand up. Yeah, I still see you, and then go back down. Oh yeah, you're very bright there. I even got a good good shot that it shows it's not even just a.
Okay, so now it's touching the water, or like I'm touching the sand. The water's coming up to you.
Okay.
Edge here.
All right, and now stand up or.
Standing up.
Becomes much brighter, but it's still, you can see it the whole time. Wow, that's
Next to the water.
okay. I'm gonna do zoom out and zoom in. You know, it's actually bright enough you can almost see it with the naked eye.
Are you sure? I'm sure you got me, right?
Yeah, I mean, you turn it off several times. Oh, there you are. See, I can see you. Oh, I'm zoomed out. Turn it on and off, and I can definitely see you from, you know, without even zooming in. I zoom in, of course I can see.
Okay.
I think I'm filming you.
I'm about maybe 40 feet.
Okay, I have you. Turn it off once, just make certain again that I'm filming. Okay.
Okay, off.
Okay, turn it on.
On.
Okay, now put the red cap on.
Red on. Sorry.
Yeah, I still see you.
Okay, so now here I am with red light. And it's gonna lower. I'm crouching. It's about 1.5 feet off the ground. And you still see me?
Yes.
And now it's down at the water.
Wow. Okay, I see you.
And so we've built a system for ourselves where there's an answer and everything else is not the answer, even when some answers are better than others. So our brains are absent the wiring capable of coming up with an original thought. I'm hiring the person who figured it out, even though it took that person longer, even though the person's answer is not as precise. I'm hiring that person because that person knows how to use the mind in a way not previously engaged. You realize when you know how to think, it empowers you far beyond those who know only what to think.
Another remarkable thing I'd like everybody to consider, inherent in this worldview, is that somehow Noah and his family were able to build a wooden ship that would house 14,000 individuals. There are 7,000 kinds, and there's a boy and a girl for each one of those. So it's about 14,008 people. And these people were unskilled. As far as anybody knows, they were never built a wooden ship before. Furthermore, they had to get all these animals on there, and they had to feed them, and I understand that Mr. Ham has some explanations for that, which I frankly find extraordinary, but this is the premise of the bit. And we can then run a test, a scientific test. People in the early 1900s built an extraordinarily large wooden ship, the Wyoming. It was a 6-masted schooner, the largest one ever built. It had a motor on it for winching cables and stuff. But this boat had a great difficulty. It was not as big as the Titanic, but it was a very long ship. It would twist in the sea. It would twist this way, and this way. And in all that twisting, it leaked. It leaked like crazy. The crew could not keep the ship dry. And indeed, it eventually foundered and sank, loss of all 14 hands. So there were 14 crewmen aboard a ship built by very, very skilled shipwrights in New England. These guys were the best in the world at wooden shipbuilding. And they couldn't build a boat as big as the Ark is claimed to have been. Is that reasonable? Is that possible? That the best shipbuilders in the world couldn't do what 8 unskilled people, men and their wives, were able to do?
Well, basically it's just impossible. It cannot work in the vacuum of space. It's just impossible. Physically it's impossible. Yeah.
So what about all the scientists? Are they all lying, or?
The thing is that we have understood the word scientist wrong. Look, I'm a scientist. I'm a mechanical engineer and I have a master's degree in technical physics. And I work as a research and development scientist. But when you say a scientist, you think that these guys are out there and they're just exploring the universe and trying to find the secrets of the universe. No, it's not like that. They pay us to do certain things, certain tasks. And if they don't pay me, I'm not gonna go search those stuff. Even if there are some people like me who do think about it, the thing is that since childhood they tell us that the rockets do work and the NASA is sending stuff up into the space, and so you're just programmed since childhood. You're not gonna be questioning that program. And even if you do question that program, people will laugh at you. People will judge you. They think you're stupid. So you end up losing your jobs and friends and stuff. So the scientists, they don't do that to themselves. It's a stupid thing to do. Even if it's the truth, but you just don't do it. The reason that you do think that rockets work in the vacuum of space is because of the third law of motion. The third law of motion states, it says that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So it's really easy to test that. Let's put this into action. An action is, for example, I'm going to start punching now. So I'm punching and I don't feel any reactions. Do you see reaction? I don't feel any reaction. But then I start punching the wall. I feel the reaction. I mean, you can try it. You feel the reaction. If it starts hurting, and if I punch harder, it's going to bleed, and if I punch even harder, it's going to break my bones. So it seems like the third law of motion, when in order for you to get the reaction, the equal and opposite reaction, you have to apply your action on something. If it's nothing, then you don't get the reaction. For example, if I'm now pushing, I'm now pushing myself. Okay, I'm pushing my hand, and no reaction. I don't feel any pushback. But then I push the wall, and I feel the pushback. So you cannot just push nothingness and expect something to happen. There has to be something.
But what about if I, for example, in a skateboard and I have a bowling ball, let's say, and I throw it, I go backwards. So
look, when you are standing on a skateboard and then you are pushing a 15-pound bowling ball, that 15-pound bowling ball has a static inertia. It means it wants to stay static. It doesn't want to move. So when you are pushing that, you're pushing yourself back. If you think that the third law of motion works in these kind of cases, then you can just throw a pen. Just see if you go backwards when you're throwing a pen. Throw a balloon, throw a light object. And yeah, cool. So you have a balloon, and you can push the balloon and see if you go back. Or a ping pong ball. It doesn't happen. The same thing when you're pushing a car. You know, have you ever tried it when a car is broken and you're pushing it? At the beginning it doesn't move. It's heavy. And then after some time it just moves slower. It got out of that static inertia. It's now moving, so it's easier to push it. It's not that difficult. So in order to get this reaction, you have to push against something. Otherwise, it's not happening. This guy, the reason it goes up is these high velocity and hot gases that exit the exhaust of the rocket engine will push against the ground first, and then it takes off. When it goes up, the air down here becomes thinner. But even if it's thinner, the speed of these gases will turn that thin air into a barrier. You know, when you're, for example, driving in the highway and you stick your hand out of the window and you feel this pressure, and the faster you go, the more pressure you feel? That's the same thing. Even if your hand is small, when the speed is high, the pressure increases. It becomes a barrier. The same thing in here. It pushes these hot gases and high velocity gases down. Even if it's thin, it still creates a barrier out of them. So as long as there is air or thin air, the rockets do work, but when it goes out in the vacuum of space where there is nothing, then it's nothing. You can push it and nothing will happen. This is easy to test actually. Look, you can get a single drone and just put it on the ground, accelerate it, so it lifts up from the ground and hovers at 20 centimeters. Do not touch the accelerator anymore. Just put the cardboard sheet under the drone and just lift it up. When you lift it up, the drone starts coming up also, and it maintains the same 20 centimeter distance between the bottom of the drone and the sheet. And the moment you take the sheet out, you take it away, the drone just drops down, hits the ground, and the hitting the ground happens due to inertia. Hits the ground, comes up, and maintains the 20 centimeter distance. So based on these observations, based on what I just showed you, pushing, punching, and the drone, which I can show you actually, we can go outside and I can demonstrate this. It's impossible for the rockets to work in the vacuum of space. It just doesn't happen. The third law of motion happens when you apply your action on something, and that something can react to you. When there is nothing, there is no reaction. Simple as that. Yeah. And the thing is, many people say that the rockets don't work in the space because there is no air. No, you're just misunderstanding it. They're carrying their own liquid fuel and they're carrying their own liquid oxygen, so they don't need air. That's not the problem. The problem is this pushing act that you have to push on something.
So you will say that they don't move. They cannot move up in the outer space.
When you're in a vacuum, no. This doesn't produce any thrust.
Even if it's like it's producing its own fuel, it wouldn't move.
It wouldn't move at all. Because as I said, you have to push against something in order to feel that reaction. And back here is a vacuum now. I mean, everywhere is a vacuum in the space. So there's nothing to push against, and done. It's just not happening. So yeah, we can actually go outside and try the drone thingy. So I'm not a good pilot, so I have to try to balance it first, but let's try our best. Okay, there we go. So as you can see, I'm not pushing the gas anymore, and we go up. You see, I'm not touching the gas, and then it comes down. We go up, as much as you want, and there we go. And the 20 centimeter is maintained, and then we go up again. You see, it means something to push against, otherwise it drops. Yep, simple as that. Based on this, you can see rockets just cannot work in the vacuum of space. It's done. There is nothing you can say about this. It's over.
Produced by the modal interaction of magneto-reluctance and capacitive directance. The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing in such a way that the two spurving bearings were in a direct line with a panametric fan. The latter consisted simply of 6 hydrocoptic Marsal vanes so fitted to the ambivation lunar wane shaft.
There's nothing to debunk. It debunks itself. When they can't offer you practicality and a definition of what it is they're actually claiming. It's a science of sophism. It's a science of cartoons. It's a science of how to animate things using crayons and wee drawings, but what they're claiming is no science, because they can't show it practically. It's no science, it's a science of deception. 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 Is it fucking that or not? It's a science of deception. It's a science of deception. Right? It's a science of deception. It's a science of deception. Is it fucking that or not? It's a science of deception. 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 Is it fucking that or not?
It was of this normal rhodoso delta type placed in palindromic semi-boloid slots of the stator. Every 7th conductor being connected by a non-reversible.
It's a science of sophism. It's a science of cartoons. Right? It's a science of how to animate things using crayons and wee drawings, but what they're claiming is no science, because they can show practically. It's no science. It's a science of deception. 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 Is it fucking that apart? It's a science of deception. It's a science of deception. Right? It's a science of deception. It's a science of deception. Is it fucking that apart?
It may also be employed in conjunction with a drawn reciprocation dingle arm to reduce sinusoidal repleneration.
Gravitoids.
It's a science of deception.
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 And just to wind up this little group of complaints, finally, this is a group of social criminals. These people in the space program. Nassholes, I call them. In case you haven't heard, the latest disaster for the rest of the universe is that the United States is going to go to Mars. Okay? Oh, yeah. We're going to go to Mars.
Hello, and welcome to the cupola on the International Space Station.
Cupola?
You've actually built it. Yes.
So you have a whole series of O-rings in here, and a shaft that you rotate.
Cupola?
Madam, I'll explain. You see, what keeps water out keeps air in. You see?
You kind of want to be careful because there is no bumper, so you don't want to hit the structure real hard.
Now wait a minute. There's no pressure outside, which means that the moment the hatch is opened, the entire sphere is a vacuum.
So, I mean, like on the space station, how many of these would you have?
7, because we have 7 windows.
What happens if you get a leak on that?
Now you can open the hatch from the inside.
Then you have a leak.
There's this outer frame that's covered with roller blinds and these old railway buffers.
It's kind of cool to think that, you know, there's this shaft that goes sort of through the structure. The other side is in outer space.
That's very good. That's right. You see, you open and shut the blinds to cut off the force of gravity from, say, from the Earth, or the Moon, or any other bodies in space.
Shutters can only be operated manually.
It's called real good engineering.
You just have a leak, and
what you would do is
lose air.
Yeah, you would probably seal the whole cupola off.
Which would be fatal for Kate because we've only got 2 suits. No, that's it. Nobody goes outside.
And then there's probably a plan, I don't know off the top of my head, but there's probably a plan for replacing the mechanism. Might require a spacewalk.
So my question is, how can you operate a lid on the outside of the space station by manipulating something mechanical on the inside of the space station without losing air pressure?
It's all rather exciting, isn't it?
first of all, I just wanted to thank you for coming. As someone who is left-leaning, I truly believe in freedom of speech, and I think that that is a principle that...
Well, thank you for coming.
All of... So, my question was about abortion, and I just wanted to know, why exactly do you think a first trimester fetus has moral value?
Okay, so a first trimester fetus has moral value because whether you consider it a potential human life or a full-on human life, it has more value than just a cluster of cells. If left to its natural processes, it will grow into a baby. So the real question is, where do you draw the line? So you're going to draw the line at the heartbeat, because it's very hard to draw the line at the heartbeat. There are people who are adults who are alive because of a pacemaker. They need some sort of outside force generating their heartbeat. Okay, are you going to do it based on brain function? Okay, well, what about people who are in a coma? Should we just kill them? Right? The problem is, anytime you draw any line other than the inception of the child, you end up drawing a false line that can also be applied to people who are adults. So either human life has intrinsic value or it doesn't. I think we both agree that adult human life has intrinsic value. Can we start from that premise?
I believe that sentience is what gives something moral value, not necessarily being a human alone.
Okay, because, when you're asleep, can I stab you?
I'm still considered sentient when I'm asleep.
Okay, if you are in a coma from which you may awake, can I stab you?
Well then, no. I guess not. I mean, like,
I'm glad you answered that, because I have no interest in actually murdering you.
But that's still potential sentience, and it's still a potential... Like,
I agree, it is potential sentience. You know what else is potential sentience? Being a fetus.
The issue with that... the issue I have with that, though, is that if I'm in a coma and I'm not, like, doing anything to anyone, I'm not causing any issues amongst the world, whereas an unwanted child may or may not be a burden to people.
Okay, well, there are lots of people who are unwanted, right? I mean, there are lots of people's parents who are unwanted, right? We're a bunch of college students. You know, the problem is that now you're shifting the argument, right? Before you were making the argument based on the intrinsic value of a life based on sentience, and now you're talking about the level of burden that somebody presents as a separate moral argument. Okay, I don't believe that you being a burden on somebody is justification for them killing you, as a general rule.
Seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he which is filthy, let him be filthy still, and he that is righteous, let him be righteous still, and he that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
This is a quick review of some footage I took on the Bristol Channel on Sunday. My location was the Black Nor Lighthouse, just outside Portishead. I'm looking up the Bristol Channel towards Gloucester. First bridge, second bridge. I think 11 miles. But what's really interesting is this building here. Took me a while to suss out, hunt it down, find out what it is. But take a note of its unusual shape, the tower. It's like a tower block, but with like an extra bit at the front that's taller. An unusual tower block. But it almost steps up at the front. I need to see that, yeah? Take note of that. Now, like I said, it took me a while to figure out what building that is and find it. Turns out it's Sharpness Docks, and that's one of the warehouses at Sharpness Docks. The nice lady there, when I rang up, told me that building's 65 metres tall. So we got that as a reference as well, before we put that through the Earth's curve calculator. But this footage today, and what we've got with I'm going to show you in a minute, not only is going to prove there's no curve, we're going to destroy the globe argument of refraction, where this ridiculous argument where this image is refracted and projected back round the curve to give the impression the earth is flat, but really it's not, it's a ball. It's just nonsense. But we're going to prove that is what it is. Just utter fucking nonsense. So yeah, all it is, I'm going to play the footage very shortly, and it's just me. You can see the building, and I'm going to be zooming out in a minute, and basically panning all the way out back to my location, showing the lighthouse, and showing the nautical training school next to it as well. To give my location basically. Now I'm just going to show you a couple of images of where we are. And this is the building. Sorry, there's the building. Obviously, notice the distinguished tower. Okay. Now this turns out to be what it is. This building here, which is Sharpness Docks. Obviously, you can see the Bristol Channel just here on the background, and this is the inlet for the docks. And obviously, I don't know, grain store or whatever it was, but you can quite clearly see. This is the building. That's a really unusual building, yeah, with that step up, almost like that extra tier. So undoubtedly, unmistakably, that is the building. Okay, let me show you my location. Here's here. This is the Blacknor Lighthouse. Let me just zoom out so you can see that properly. This is the Blacknor Lighthouse, and I've got my tripod sat up here. And I'm looking this way, up the channel towards the bridges and the Sharpness Docks and that said warehouse, okay? Now I am right on the sea. I'm going to show you top view of this shortly. And like I say, I'm looking up the channel. Now when the tide's in, sometimes the tide comes right up to literally the top of this concrete base which the lighthouse is actually stood on. So you could class that as sea level. Although the tide wasn't fully in when I was here, it was coming in. So I just thought I'd state that. Anyway, like I said, I'm looking up this direction, and we're going to show you the map now. The distance involved, okay, is here. Might have to zoom in for you. "21 miles essentially. The journey, if you can see that. That's the distance. It's from Portishead to the Sharpness Docks. Like I say, the Blacknor Lighthouse in Portishead, I should say. Look how far that is on the map. Let me just come out a minute. It's just a mad distance. Blacknor Lighthouse down here, sorry, shocking camera like that. That's how far it is, I've got to keep zooming right out. Here's the Blacknor Lighthouse here. I'm looking 21 miles, first bridge, second bridge, then the tall building at the docks. 20, was it? 21.36 miles. I'm glad it wasn't 33. 21 miles, we'll say. All right, we're looking at the channel. It's just absurd, really. Anyway, let's check the footage. All it is, I'm going to be panning out, nothing glamorous. I'm just panning out from that location and showing my location. Panning out. All the way out, all 21 miles away. I'm looking, this is the concrete base I'm stood on, which is what the lighthouse is on. I'm looking down onto the beach, which is probably 8 to 10 feet down there. When the tide comes in, it'll literally come near enough up to the top of that wall. There's the tripod, which is probably 4 feet tall, and here's the Blacknor Lighthouse, okay? And I'm coming down onto the nautical training school, which is just set back. Sorry about that, a bit glitchy there. Bits just set back. But ultimately, I'm right on the beach, yeah? I'm right on the sea. So we're seeing that building from 21 miles away. If we run that through the curve chart, let's see what we come up with. I've given myself a viewer height of 10 feet. Target distance 21 miles. Bearing in mind, let me zoom out and just straighten that. Bearing in mind, I'm stood pretty much at sea level, although I'm not on the beach, I'm at the base of the lighthouse. I'm viewing something which is pretty much sea level. It's almost ideal, it's literally the identical conditions. It's a dock with a building on a concrete foundation base. So they're pretty much the same. But I'm giving myself a viewer height of 10 feet, a little bit extra. We calculate it. And essentially the target should have been hidden. 195 feet should have been hidden. Can you see that there? That building, I was told by the lady at the docks, is 65 meters. That's 195 feet. Essentially, the whole of that building should not have been seen. None of it. And we pretty much can see all of it. There is some miraging, I get that, but we can pretty much see all of it, yeah? Now what makes this really interesting is when we go to this. We've seen a 21-mile distance. Lovely. Now we're going to do the elevation stats on that to cross-reference. Just get that here a minute. I've gone from Black Nor Lighthouse, this is so telling, to Sharpness Docks, Dock Road, Sharpness, Berkeley. The journey, I'm not really interested in it because it's a walk. It says 28 miles, but that's because I've done it on walk to get the elevation stats. But what really is the giveaway, I've gone up 860 feet. I've come down 860 feet. Notice, flat, plain. Here's the elevation of the journey. I'm looking up the channel. I'm at the lighthouse, viewing the dock building. It's showing us sea is fucking level, excuse the swearing. And it's showing the elevation of my journey. But ultimately, the elevation stats are confirming what I'm viewing. That basically there is no curve, and that I should be seeing that building based on these elevation stats, because these elevation stats are confirming my observations. There is no curve. Yeah? Like I said, I went up 860 feet, I came down 860 feet. It's telling me, from my point of reference to the building, there's no difference in elevation, and I've confirmed that. Get this nonsense off here. And I've confirmed that with my observations, and this is confirming my observations, the elevation stats, yeah? And it's also destroying the refraction argument, yeah? There is no refraction, it doesn't exist, just like the curve, it doesn't exist. You see what's happened here? Google is you know, they're telling the truth, they're not hiding this. It doesn't take much to uncover this bullshit. Observations, legwork, bit of homework, and use Google elevation stats. Now, we've seen, it confirms my observations, yeah? Let's have a little wander around the world now, knowing that these observations are correct. And the elevation stats are correct. I've gone from Vancouver in Canada to, groovy old city of New Orleans. 4,759 kilometers. Look at the distance here, yeah? We know this is correct. Look, it's flat as you like. There's hills. But what's the difference? 3 meters difference from Vancouver to New Orleans. And we know this is correct. I've confirmed it with my observations. So there's 3 meters of difference. And I've not gone fussy, I've just whacked Vancouver and New Orleans, yeah? So that's probably the difference of the street height. Do you see how telling this is? The globe is dead. We'll continue. We've gone from Perth to Sydney, one side of Australia, the other, to 3,722 kilometres. The difference in height, 7 metres from one side of Australia to the other. A course is presented on a flat plane. Of course, we've got the elevation, and of course, they're near enough the same height from one side to the other. It's flat. We'll continue. Calais, France, and we're going all the way down to, I don't even know where this is. Where is this? Valencia. Beg your pardon. So we're going from the most northerly part of France, Calais, to sort of southeast of Spain in Valencia. The journey, 1,638 kilometres. Notice the elevation here. See those hills? That's probably the Pyrenees. I walked through those years ago, so that's probably that. But look, on a flat plane, what's the difference? Fuck you. 3 metres of difference. You can't. It's flat. We know these elevation stats are correct. We confirmed it with my observations. It's flat. We've destroyed refraction. It's flat. The Earth is flat. Our observations match this. This is game over. Globe is dead. And of course we know the Bristol Channel's flat. Well, I do. I've been there many times. It's a fantastic place to stick stickers and point the obvious out to people. Folks, if you're not convinced, you should be now. The Earth is flat. The globe is dead.
Always with me, always with you. The way that song developed, written one afternoon in my apartment, really started out very innocently as a love song, but the process of learning how to play it in the studio was really mind-blowing, because I'm fighting that sort of major key, playing the same 7 notes all over again, you know, because we kind of, when you hear a major key, you can almost guess what the guy's going to be playing, right? So how do I fight that? And I had to sort of work in some improvisation here and there, and then you come in and you save the day with some really perfect notes, you know what I mean? With a song like that, you have to hit every single note. It's got to be really beautiful if you want to sell the song.
Okay guys, so I just wanted to show you guys something. See if we can pull it. There goes the moon, okay. Alright. Okay, what's that mean? Okay. There goes our sun. Alright guys, I'm going to slow it down for you. There goes the moon. Okay, that is the moon. Alright. So everyone sees this? I'm sorry, it's going to be a choppy video. I don't care. I want to show you something. I'm only showing this because I want to show you that if you don't think that these bastards are lying to you about anything, they're lying. They're liars. Okay, so I'm going to show you the same thing I always showed you during the last solar eclipse. Right? I'm going to show you. Because they're liars. And if you can't bust them here, you guys are not paying attention. You guys are not paying attention. And not everyone's this stupid. You can't be stupid like this. Okay, so here's the thing. Right now, it is 12 o'clock midnight in Sydney, Australia. Guys, you know where that's at in their so-called globe model, right? Right? I only caught this because I was just driving, and I just wanted to show you guys something. Hold on one second, I'll be right back. Okay guys, it took me a minute to load this back up, but I wanted to show you this is live from Sydney, Australia. And you know, I'm going to stop this again because I got to jump from spot to spot. I didn't expect to catch it. But anyways, I showed you our moon out in the sky. Why that's a big deal, and I apologize for this video because I had to do it really quick. This is a big deal because I'm going to show you their lunar cycle on their so-called globe ball, okay? So give me a second. I am going to go back outside and show you the moon. I showed you in the first place, so hopefully the clouds can cover it up. But I want to show you that the moon is over there. That's on the other side of their ball, okay? Don't let them bullshit you. This is bigger than the eclipse right now, and I'll show you why. Okay, guys, so I'm back outside. I'm showing you the moon there, okay? Remember the way it looks, okay? So I'm going to show you, so the moon, there goes our beautiful sun and the moon, right? Now believe me, they told you how big the moon is. It's small, right? Because that's how they get away with their bullshit, telling you things are so big. And hold on a second. So you have to follow this and see where I'm going with it. Let me take out my... So I'm going to take you back in the house. Okay, so there goes Sydney, Australia. It's 12 a.m. and I'm going to pull up the moon cycles in 1 second to show you what I'm talking about. So because they always say, some people are saying the moon disappears. Remember, you hear all this bullshit. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know science. you guys need to stop it. You guys are being part of this. Either you're lying or you're part of that demonic system. Guys, listen, that Vegas thing is real. That sheriff's changing his story right now. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because flat earth and all the lies, God said in the end days, sorry, that just connection went out. But the end days, that things would be, people would wake up because of technology. Hold on one second. Let me moon cycle and show you what Sydney would look like with the moon cycle today. Okay, guys, so here goes the moon phase 2017 lunar calendar for Sydney, North South Wales. And there it goes, October 11, 2017. Now, 9:50, you know, it's telling you right now. There goes the cycle. So anyone who is a globe head that bullshits you on this whole thing, well, they're lying to you, okay? Or they don't know what they're talking about. Here goes the moon phases. And what you got to do is pay attention to what's going on in the sky. So if the moon's here, I'm talking about in the United States. And don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, because this is what the map actually looks like. You see this right here, guys? This is what it all looks like, all right? God said he put it on 4 pillars, and this is their stuff, not mine, okay? See Sydney, Australia right there? That's why you could see the moon. That's why the moon's there, and the moon's here at the same time, which I'll have to show dumbasses again, because they sit there and they doubt you. Like you're stupid. Like you're dumb. Earth is not round. It's ridiculous. People back in the day weren't stupid. They actually followed the Bible. They weren't with this demonic trip. But anyway, there goes the moon. And guys, this will be here for hours. And it's over there on the other side of their so-called globe ball model. You know, don't let them fool you. If you guys can stay with this video, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to do something else instead of run around with you. But I want to show you how bullshit this is. Okay, guys, so here goes a globe. Photorealistic, which is bullshit. They don't have pictures of the Earth because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So here, we're just going to take you through any of the globe heads trying to convince you. And by the way, they said this is tilted, so show axis tilt, and you can do that. Okay, so here goes their tilt, right? I just showed you the moon out here. Okay, so here goes the United States, right? This is where I'm at over here, over in Pennsylvania. So there it goes, okay? You can see the moon right here. The moon's up in the sky. Now let me show you where they're bullshit. This is where they get caught. You know, this is not realistic. Anyone who believes this is full of shit, okay? This is bullcrap, and I'm so sorry because I'm a Christian. I get just so aggravated with this. But here goes Australia on the other side of their model, okay? It's at the bottom. And they have the moon there right now at 12 o'clock. I showed you their cycle. All right? There goes the moon. The moon's there. So they're trying to get you to, they're trying to have, this is on the bottom of this thing, man. And so they want you to believe that on the bottom, right there, the very bottom, on the very bottom down here, you see where my finger, and we're still not around yet. Here goes Africa, right? It's such bullshit. I mean, they're lying. There's so much. They're liars. So you can't have it both ways, right? You can't. Stop here. I could. This is pretty cool. This 3D model, because you could catch them bullshitting you. Okay, so what they want you to believe. This is why they put this thing on a tilt, guys, which it's not, because we're not on the side of a planet. Water's not conforming to a ball. But anyways, there goes the United States. And Sydney, Australia is on the other side over here. They want you to believe you could see the moon would be up here. I'm showing you right now. The moon is up here. So there goes the United States. Sydney, Australia is right around here. Okay? So I will rotate it again for all the globe head dummies. Some of you guys are probably good people. You just don't realize how much deception you're being taught, and you're talking about going back to them. You ain't going nowhere, Jack. This is the United States. The Earth, it is flat. I will show you that again and get my point across, but it's just very aggravating. So I'm going to stop this rotation right now. Okay, guys. So because this is bullcrap, right? It's hard to explain it to you, but this is on the very bottom. This is on the back side of the planet, okay? The back side. And I'll show you one more time, and then I'll be done with this video because they're full of shit, all right? Full of shit. Can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Now the clouds are covering it up a little bit, but there goes the moon again. Sorry for all the bouncing, but it's just bullcrap. The moon, I showed you again. Let me back this up because I had it focused. Okay. Now, the reason why you can see the moon and the sun, you know, well, the moon's farther away, but obviously, but anyways, this is what the map looks like. They know it. Everyone knows it. This is more realistic, except for the size of certain things. But anyways, but they want you to believe. Without it being this, you can't have the moon here, sun here, and then I'm just using their stuff against them. That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything special, guys. I'm not doing anything special. But God bless you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. But I wanted to show you more deceptions. You can bust them yourself. Get a buddy over there. And I'm telling you right now, you can do a live. Because they never show the moon over there. I mean, because they're bullshitting you. And the only time I caught the moon was during the eclipse. It was over in Israel. And the guy said, I don't understand science. I don't understand angles. Be quiet. Shut your face. I don't want to hear it no more. Okay? You can't have it both ways. You can't. Don't tell me about science no more. Your science is bullshit. Guys, have a good day. God bless you guys.
Okay. Today, I'm going to show you my experiments that I'm doing with my bubble dome. And I don't know if anybody else is experimenting with a bubble dome, but it is so much fun. It is a lot of fun. Now, this is a painting that I painted a long time ago. I paint a lot of robots. But anyway, let's get started, shall we? Now, looky here. This is my bubble dome. Is it not a beauty? It's a beauty. It's about, I don't know, 14 by 10, and it's 9 inches deep. Now, when I got this, I was so excited because I wanted to experiment with the star trails. And so that's the first thing I did, and I figured out in 30 minutes how the star trails are rotating in the opposite directions in our skies. Okay, well, let me show you my experiment. Okay, here's my bubble dome, and I've got it taped on 2 chairs so I can do observations below and I don't hurt my bubble dome. And then down here, I have a mirror. There's a mirror on the floor. So if I hold the camera over here, you're looking through the bubble dome down onto the mirror. Okay, now what I want to show you first is this. Oh, well, sorry. I can't get it in the eye. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people. Okay, now. The arrows are all going in one direction. If I turn it like this, they're just going to buzz around in the same direction. Now, if I do it in the mirror, same thing. If I spin it clockwise in the mirror, you're going to see the arrows going clockwise as well. Now, the bubble dome does something more wonderful. Well, the mirror is pretty wonderful. Mirrors are wonderful. But let me show you what the bubble dome does. Here's the disc. And see how all the arrows are going to the left? I'm going to turn this clockwise now. And you tell me what you see in the dome. I'm spinning the wheel clockwise, but in the dome, they're going counterclockwise. I believe our dome is huge, and I'm starting to believe it's thick, very thick. There also might be water or something on the inside of it, because when I do my moon experiments, well, you'll see what happens when I do my moon experiments. But here, the star trails, the arrows are going in the same way. See that? But the card's going clockwise, and the dome is reflecting a counterclockwise rotation. So, thank you very much. And I hope you enjoyed my bubble dome. I love it. It's a beauty. Thank you for watching. Just a little long lens like that, see? I think the moon could be this shape. I don't know if it's round, but the front to me looks like this side of the lens here. The thicker side. It's just a little convex lens here. But oh, when you get it going with the bubble dome, it is fun. Okay. Now, I don't know how the moon works. I don't. I know a few things though. I know we live in a dome. Alright. Okay. Can you see that? Okay. Look at that. Look at what it's doing there. Now this is where the lens is underneath the bubble dome. And it's a lot prettier in real life. This does not do it justice. Now my bubble dome obviously has an edge. Can you see it there? Yeah. But this is how it looks when I seal that edge off underneath there. Now, I haven't found any consistencies with the bubble dome and this little magnifier here. But it does a lot of similar things that our moon does. Now, don't you find this interesting? I'm sorry, I can't keep my hands out of the way and video this too. Now, you're looking through the lens, through the other convex lens, and this is just not doing it justice, but it looks round. This shot makes these two facing convex lenses. Look round. Doesn't that look round? Well, the moon looks very round sometimes, doesn't it? Very round. Now, I had it earlier today with natural light. It looked just very, very round. I mean, it was just so awesome. I think the natural light is much better than this man-made, but this is what all I've got right now. So, and now look, it'll get that moony sliver going. It's so difficult to do this. And I know I'm jumping all around, but once you get a bubble dome, you'll start seeing some things in here that resemble our moon. And I just can't do it. I'm in too difficult of a situation. But anyway. Look at that. That's my ceiling fan up there. But that's that disc. That convex disc I'm holding. Look at that. It looks round, doesn't it? It looks completely round. And look, we can see a spot in it. I don't know. It's probably dirty or something. I don't know. Now, I haven't seen that one before. Let's do that again. But anyway, it's just this little lens. That's all it is. It looks like a big ball. You will have so much fun with this. You can make it sliver. You can make it do all sorts of things. This dome's a lot of fun. And I hope you get one, and I hope you enjoy it as much as me. And I'm playing with lenses. This little concave lens has been the best simulation that I've done so far. I've tried marbles. I've tried styrofoam. Now, yeah, they do interesting things. But the magnifier is a lot more on the ball.
Okay, we're going to try and replicate crepuscular rays here in the kitchen with the boys on a small scale. So this is our sea, as you can see obviously from the tortoise and the duck and the shell, and this is our cloud base. Got some holes in the cloud, and we're going to try and make our rays bend. So we're starting off with the light source far away, and we're going to gradually bring it down, see what happens. Right, Dan, can you slowly start bringing it down for me, please? Good lad, little bit by little bit. So we don't get that large spread of light until the source is just above the cloud base by the looks of it. Keep going down a little bit closer. A little bit closer. That's it. Up again. Right, can you just bring it down just above the paper, please? Yeah, about there. That's about right, isn't it? I think that's what we see. As you can see, The light source is close. Good job, Dan. Test number 1. Let's try some different clouds.
Experiment number 2.
Right, okay, this time we've got a different pattern to make the clouds. Little flower cutouts. Okay, yeah, as again we'll start off with the light source high as we can get it in the kitchen. And the flowers are slightly bigger than the holes, but only slightly. Okay, Dan, can you slowly bring it down for me, please? Right. You see they're starting to spread out, boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, as it gets closer.
Wait, look.
Now that looks like the crespel arrays we get over the ocean, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Light source close. Light bends. Take it up, Dan. Light source far away. Now this is how we're told the sun reaches us, in one big blanket of light. Yep. We get crespel arrays, which means that we need a light source close. Press up. Thanks, Dan.
Third experiment. Wow. Oh my god.
Right, now we're going to see if we can pull out the crespel arrays with the smoke from this incense. Okay, so we're going to do the same experiments as before. We're using smoke, we've got a light source further up. And the boys are choking on it. Right, bring it down. Bring it down, Dan.
Down, 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 down. Down, down, down.
Slowly. There you go, can you see them? There they are. You see the light rays bending?
Yeah.
They bend outwards, don't they, as they come through the clouds. And where's the light source? Okay, now take the light source up, son. Right the way up.
Hi all, let's check a star, the nebula, like 36 light years away. Bullshit numbers. This contains some numerology. 3 6s and 3 6s. Yeah. But we're not going to talk about it now. I was watching this lightning storm at night, and I noticed something. Every time we see the lightning, the stars lit up. I can count more stars when the lightning strikes. That's not what science tells us. I will do a zoom in on this part and show you frames forwards and backwards. if I forward and backward the frames manually on my keyboard with arrows. We can count more stars. You can do this on your own computer. Pause it and count the stars. You see how they lit up? Because of the lightning. How can that be if they are like 500 light years away? Look. And you can do this for yourself. I just pointed out, look here, those stars. They're lit up by the lightning. I found like 3-4 more videos. You know, I want to see if this was correct. Yeah, I know this is correct because when we are taking a plane in the night, we never see stars when we look up. But when we are on a mountain, the stars are huge. The stars are just in the clouds, not light years and light years away.
Amen.